My wife cheated on me, and it destroyed our marriage. My wife, 37, started a new job 4 months ago and has made some new friends there. I, 36M, wasn't a fan of them. They were all strong feminists, always playing the victim, and very much into social justice activism. Some women will get upset if you open the door for them, or maybe not, as I open the door for them. There's no way to come out on top. At first, I brushed it off, but over the past 2 months, I've seen some troubling changes in my wife. We've been married for 11 years and have 2 kids, a 10-year-old daughter and an 8-year-old son. It kept escalating. She would blame me for all sorts of things, claiming I was inherently bad just because of historical oppression of women. What did you say? Everything I did for her, things she usually liked, suddenly became reasons for us to argue. It was just ridiculous. I would try to stay calm. These arguments usually ended with me saying something like, "But I haven't done anything wrong to you. I guess my only crime is loving you." It often made her mumble. The next day, she returned with a similar approach, but used different arguments. About 5 weeks ago, I had a strong gut feeling that something was really off. She returned home late without letting me know. I couldn't get through to her on the phone. She seemed drunk and was acting distant and cold. The following day, she would brush me off and say I was being controlling, claiming I overanalyzed everything. This occurred several more times. I attempted to look through her phone, but couldn't find anything clear. I had a feeling she had erased many of her messages. I found a thread where one of her new friends was talking about how she might ask me for an open relationship. I knew right away what my instincts were saying. She was cheating. My wife mentioned she would discuss it with me on the second Monday of December. My kids are with their grandparents for Christmas. We were supposed to join them today. She tries to start a conversation during breakfast, like it just came to her out of nowhere. Someone asked me what I think about an open relationship. I was ready. I had the recording going. I had been reading a lot on Reddit, and I realized there was no way to fix this. I just want to come out of this with a bit of pride and self-esteem left. From now on, my focus is on keeping myself and the kids safe. I didn't shout or raise my voice. I went straight into a tense questioning mode. She was confident until that moment, but it disappeared as soon as she saw my expression. Who is he? What do you mean by she? What do you mean by she? If you lie to me now, we can't talk about our relationship. It's clear to me that you're keeping something from me. So who is the guy you are seeing? I am not her. Wow, there's more than one. I don't want to. Just don't lie. You have completely broken my trust in you. I can see you're not being truthful. We can either have an honest conversation about this, or I will file for divorce. Our marriage is over. No arguments, no discussion, nothing. Just got a divorce. Do you understand? She, however, just tell me, do you get it? If you lie, I will divorce you. Just say it. Do you realize that I'm already quite knowledgeable? I can understand you easily. If I find out you're lying, it's done. I need you to acknowledge what I'm saying. She and I understand. She starts sharing details about 2 one-night stands she had while out with her friends. I ask for their names, if they're married, and whether she used protection. Both are married and have children. She tells me she's planning to sleep with a coworker and that she wants to go through with it because it's good for her. She says I have no right to control her. What the heck? I also ask about the colleague and find out his name, his wife's name. He is married, but she claims they have an open relationship and wants us to be part of it. She says she will introduce me to some of her friends, and one of them is really interested, apparently. What in the world? I know this person, and I wouldn't go near her. I told her I'm not interested. I request her phone, and she reveals the pattern to unlock it. When she went to the bathroom, I shut myself in my office. She started panicking, and while she was hitting the door, I used recovery software on the phone to find deleted content. After 30 minutes, I ended up with a lot of painful evidence. I installed a spying app from an online service. I handed her the phone and told her to go. She argued a lot, and I mostly replied with one-word answers. She showed no remorse during the whole situation, yelling at me that I was being controlling and holding her back like men always do to women. I never loved her. She had every right to do this. She expected me to just accept it. It wasn't a big deal, etc. I stayed quiet, barely spoke at all. I packed her things while she yelled at me. I stood at the front door, waiting quietly until she finished talking. Eventually, she went to her parents' house, though she didn't want to. As she walked down the stairs, I told her she was single now and could do whatever she wanted. I wasn't controlling her anymore. My lawyer will reach out in January. I turned and locked the door behind me as she started to speak. I saw her talking about it with her friends later. They told her she was strong for demanding what she deserved, that she deserved better than me. People thought I was just making empty threats, that I wouldn't actually do it. Want to bet? What concerned me was when they said she could just claim I was abusive if she wanted to. One of them shared how she had wronged her ex-husband and taken everything from him by claiming he was abusive. I ordered cameras for my house. I realize I need to record everything now. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I've never threatened her at all. She began texting her AP to arrange a meetup. They decided to meet at a hotel, and I was completely shocked. I went online to find the AP's wife. It didn't take long. She accepted my friend request on Facebook, and I shared everything with her, including what was happening at the hotel. She said thanks and ended the call. A few hours later, she sent me a video. She arrived at the motel and faced them. The yelling made it clear this wasn't the first time her husband had been unfaithful. "You absolute jerk. Are you really going to do this to me again?" Back to the kids. "I warned you that we were done if this happened again. You have cryptocurrency and its percentage." She entered the room and recorded my wife getting dressed on the edge of the bed. I felt sick when I saw that for the first time. The AP's wife hit her and yelled at her. I texted my wife that I saw the hotel video and I never want to see her again. It feels like she views our interaction as a competition. In her mind, she is winning. She seems completely out of touch with reality. I don't get any of it. It feels like she's out of touch with what's real. It's as if she doesn't grasp that we're getting a divorce. I joined my wife's family WhatsApp group and told them we are getting a divorce because of her cheating. I expressed my gratitude for their warm welcome and for including me before leaving the group. I got some calls and messages from her, but I haven't looked at them or replied. I really lack the energy for that. I reached out to my parents and shared everything with them. My dad told my wife she can't come for Christmas. I'm at my parents' place right now. I spoke with my boss, and he's giving me time off until mid-January to get everything sorted out. I have been watching my wife's growing anxious talks with her new friends. I don't think my wife realizes that she has lost her family, that her marriage is over, and that her new friends and her affair partner don't really care about her. She sent me a lot of messages and showed up at my parents' house, insisting on celebrating Christmas with us. My dad said he would call the police if she didn't go. I'm searching for divorce lawyers and feeling completely overwhelmed. I feel like I've been in shock, but the pain really hit me hard once I arrived at my parents' house. I really can't understand it. Reading their chats and talking to her causes me a lot of pain. I've only replied to her messages twice. One message to me: "It doesn't matter what you say. I don't know who you are. You are not my wife. My wife would never destroy my heart and soul while smiling. We will get a divorce. I don't care what you say or what you want. You have no influence or right to demand anything from me ever again. We are over." Another message to me: "Like I said, you are not my wife. I don't know you. My wife would never condemn our children to the pain and suffering of growing up in a broken home. You, whoever you are, seem to be proud of what you have done. My wife was loving, caring, considerate, my best friend. You are a self-obsessed, self-absorbed abomination." The messages stopped after the last one. The pain is sometimes too much to handle. I wish things were different, that I could go back to how it was with her, but I know I can't put myself through that again. This Christmas is terrible. I had to tell the kids that their mom doesn't want to be a family anymore. She wants to be with other men, and we are getting a divorce. They are clearly upset. My parents are here to help. They give them all their love and attention while I feel like a complete wreck. I will work on getting back on my feet for my kids, but I won't go back to her again. I regret not waiting until after Christmas to get them into counseling right away. I'm not sure what went wrong. I just said it when they asked about their mom's return. I couldn't face myself in the mirror if I went back to her. The disrespect and callousness in her actions are just too much to forgive. I feel confused and don't understand what's happening. Why does she think she can ask for anything from me now? Is she dealing with some mental health issues? I apologize for the messy rant. I just needed to express this. I found out that I'm okay with the monitoring. I spoke with a lawyer that a friend knows. The phone belongs to me, and the subscription is also mine. My wife is using it, but it's mine. I'm good with the subscription. Monitoring my own equipment isn't against the law. Update 1. A lot has happened since my last post. So much has gone on, and I wish I could say I handled it well, but honestly, I've just been a crying wreck since my last update. I became fixated on my wife's conversations with her friends. A lot of crazy and hurtful things were said in those chats. What struck me the most was when my soon-to-be ex-wife harshly described her marriage and especially her children as a burden in her life. They held her back from becoming a successful woman and reaching her full potential. She said, "I was an oppressive person who prevented her from having a good life. Her family held her back from having a successful career and experiencing casual relationships." I just snapped. I couldn't take it anymore. I spent about 30 hours going through every line of emails and chats repeatedly. Looking back, she didn't explain how we really carry burdens or deal with oppressors. It was all generalizations, without any examples or evidence to back them up. I have never prevented her from doing anything. I cover nearly all the expenses. The minimum wage she earns from her part-time job isn't sufficient to support anyone, really. I have backed her hobbies, dreams, and goals, even when she kept dropping out of classes after making mistakes. I made it a point to express my love for her daily and to acknowledge all she did for the family. I would take her out, support her, and be there whenever she needed me. If this is what oppression looks like, I wouldn't mind experiencing some of it. Moving on. I fell asleep while reading. When I woke up, my 3 friends were in the kitchen with my dad making dinner. I have known these guys since I was a child. Let's call them Mike, Bob, and Frank. My dad invited them and filled them in. I ended up breaking down again and was completely out of it until Friday evening. Mike is a former soldier who lost his left arm below the elbow. We were all there for him during his recovery when his wife left him. Fortunately, they were childless. Mike adopted 2 kids and got a nice girlfriend a few years back, so he's doing well. He arranged a Zoom call with his counselor who supported him during his recovery. He really helped me understand my emotions. Even though he focused on amputees, he mentioned that many wives unfortunately leave when their husbands get hurt. His stories and examples really helped me. He wanted me to view my soul, identity, and spiritual self as closely linked to my marriage and my role as a husband. That part is gone now, and just like someone who has lost a limb can feel pain where it used to be, I will feel a loss from that part of my identity. We talked for hours, and I've been getting better ever since. Bob works at Summit Security Company as an executive. He doesn't share much about his job, so I'm not really sure what he does. However, he has a lot of money. Bob contacted a law firm that the company has on retainer, and on Sunday morning, I found myself speaking with a lawyer I never thought I would have the chance to talk to. Bob was a big nerd and faced a lot of bullying. He said not to stress about the bill. He would take care of it. He was glad to finally repay me for the times I took a beating for him when he dealt with his bullies. Frank teaches at a private school for kids and is married with 7 children. Yes, 7. My kids really like him and his family a lot. Frank has been looking after my kids while I work on getting my life back together. Yesterday was a busy day, starting with STD screening early in the morning. The purchase, H, got chlamydia from them, another screen in half a year. F, and sent e-currency. My feelings of self-pity turned into pure anger when I found out. That's it for me. Lights out. Full custody. I won't give her anything if I can avoid it. The lawyer found the ex-husband of my wife's feminist friend who boasted about how she got the better of him. According to the court documents, it was quite simple. I never would have considered that. I chatted with him on WhatsApp, and he expressed his gratitude a lot. He shared all the things this harpy did to him. I figured out what to anticipate from my soon-to-be ex-wife. It was disgusting. I was prepared for a confrontation. After our conversation, I am getting ready for battle. It was tough to hear about his time being homeless and how he barely saw his kids for 4 years. Everything stemmed from the falsehoods of his ex-wife. I recognize that I face challenges as a man in the court system. I will gather a lot of proof. My lawyer recommended taking action with a restraining order because of her negative and aggressive remarks about men, particularly for the sake of our son. Growing up in a home with an openly anti-male parent is clearly harmful. I am pursuing full custody. I informed the lawyer to proceed. She anticipates that the restraining order will be served today. I had a Zoom call with my STBX. Just so you know, she hasn't contacted me at all since she came to my door to argue with my dad. She hasn't contacted the kids or anyone else, so it seems she doesn't care about any of us. The call was strange. She was fully dressed up with a lot of cleavage showing. She clearly wanted to look her best. I haven't seen her look that polished in years. During the whole conversation, she attempted to provoke me, trying to make me angry. I stayed calm. My lawyer had advised me on what to request. It seems that trying for an amicable divorce before going for a contested one is seen as a good thing. I recorded it, and I even told her I was. STBXW still managed to surprise me. She began with a strange claim that there are 2 kinds of penises. One that stays about the same size, whether it's erect or not, and another that changes size depending on its state. What is going on? Who starts a call with their husband like that? She thought about how she couldn't wait for the current restrictions to end so she could go out and explore this more in person. I just said I wasn't into her hobbies. I was only focused on talking about our divorce. She became openly hostile when I didn't react the way she expected. She said she was going to the bathroom and then muted herself. Then I saw her talking with her friends about what to do with me. She yelled at me just for being a man multiple times. During the call, I couldn't shake the feeling that she viewed this as a game, that she was in charge and I had no choice but to accept and comply with whatever she desired. We didn't make any progress on our divorce, so I decided that a contested divorce it is. By the way, you gave me chlamydia. I haven't been with anyone else, so you need to go to the clinic. She frowned at me, as if to say, I don't believe you. I really don't understand what's happening with her, and honestly, I don't care anymore. I sent the recording to the lawyer, and she was definitely surprised. People believe my wife has lost her mind at this stage. Perhaps she is? Since I own her phone and the subscription, I can use the chat logs in court. It's legal to monitor my own device as much as I want. After our call, there was a lot of frantic discussion among the harpies, but I was finally able to put it aside. I no longer care about what they say. The lawyer believes we will win this case unless I've left out any important details. So there we are. It still hurts, but I can think of it as phantom pain now. I've stopped feeling sorry for myself, and I'm going all in. No holding back. I have to keep myself and my children safe. I'm doing well. My kids will be okay. I'll ensure they get as much therapy as they need. My soon-to-be ex-wife will soon be a distant memory, and I will begin creating a new and better life. I found out today that she knew about the chlamydia, got treatment, but didn't tell me. Bit HFCK. She joked and laughed with her new friends about it. Update 2. I often hear things like, I am strong, or that I am winning in some way, or that I am somehow coming out on top. Looking back at my posts, I noticed that my anger about the situation comes through, making me appear defiant and confident. I'm really not. I really wish this didn't happen. I wish my family was still together and that I had a long, easy life ahead with my wife as the kids grow up and start their own journeys. No one wins in this situation. My wife has lost control and everything is falling apart. I don't understand what's going on with her. She won't see a doctor about potential mental health issues, and she acts like everything is fine. She still shows no remorse or regret. She acts like I'm unreasonable for not just accepting whatever she wants, and she has barely spoken to the kids since D-Day. I am getting a divorce and taking steps to separate our lives because I have two. Her actions have forced my hand, and at this point, there's no turning back. I really hope this isn't needed. I can't trust her anymore. I cry myself to sleep every night over my loss and the reality that my kids will grow up in a broken home. It hurts to see that my children no longer have a good relationship with their mother. What's your question? How do you respond to this question from your child? Why doesn't mom want to see me anymore? Does she not love me? How do you even respond to that? If anyone has the answer, please share, because I definitely don't. Every day I wake up and remind myself that my heart is already in so many broken pieces that it can't break anymore. Constantly being shown I was wrong, day in and day out. My wife either doesn't realize I can monitor her communications or she just doesn't care. She believes I will always stay and thinks my response to her actions is completely unfair. She talks poorly about her friends. Here's a bit about me, my marriage, and my kids. I can't figure out why she dislikes us so much. We haven't done any of the things she claims we did to her friends. My lawyer got a temporary restraining order against her. There was a hearing yesterday morning, and since there were no new direct threats, it wasn't extended. My lawyer recommended using the fact that she knowingly infected me as leverage to get her to agree to an uncontested divorce. I want to part ways in a fair way. It's frustrating to view her as the enemy and always expect the worst. If she wanted to leave, I could accept that, but why make this so confrontational? Why does she try so hard to hurt the people who once loved her? What could she possibly gain from this? I would like some thoughts on this. I can't wrap my head around it. If I end up in court, I might have to give her a lump sum for the equity in our house and other things. I likely won't have to pay alimony, and since she seems uninterested in the kids, I'm optimistic about winning custody if it goes to court. My lawyer suggested we try to get her to agree to an amicable divorce. I agreed, and we plan to meet with my STBXW and her representative this week. The ex-husband, who was deceived by the dishonest woman, spends New Year's Eve with me and the kids. The unfairness of the justice system towards fathers is truly shocking. I don't expect to get a fair process if this goes to court. His ex made false claims, and the court accepted them as truth. No evidence at all. He rarely sees his kids now. The alimony and child support payments are excessive, and it's taken a toll on him. He has been thinking about ending things for good. He has new hope thanks to the evidence I provided. My lawyer advised that he should hold on to the evidence until the meeting with my wife and her lawyer. If he acts now, it will reveal that we can see all their messages. My lawyer wants to finalize my divorce from my wife quickly and without complications. I just want to get away from her. If she fights it, this could take a really long time. I'm feeling overwhelmed. I just want to be free. I'll share an update if I have a meeting or if we head straight to court for a dispute. Update 3. The strange situation goes on. Yesterday afternoon, I met with my lawyer and my STBXW. She arrived 30 minutes late, didn't bring a lawyer, and says she doesn't have or need one. Instead, she brought one of her new Harpy friends along, restricted until after the hearing. My lawyer provided me with clear guidelines on how to act. I was supposed to respond to everything they said without any negativity. If someone talked to me, I was supposed to reply calmly or in a positive way if possible. If my lawyer placed one hand flat on the table, I had to stay silent. They arrived late, no masks, obviously. The Harpy, muted, attempts to provoke me and annoy me in every way possible. My soon-to-be ex-wife does the same. My lawyer is trying to start the conversation about our divorce. They are just messing around. They found their own insults towards me really funny. It was really uncomfortable to see. It's obvious now. My wife still thinks this is all a trick. I can't divorce her. It's just not possible. She believes that only she has the power to divorce me, and only if she chooses to do so. If she does, she will receive everything. I just sat there thinking, what the heck is going on? I didn't say much, just responded a few times with things like, yeah, you might be right, or I really have no idea. Eventually, they lost some momentum. My lawyer received the news and began presenting the proposed settlement for a friendly divorce. She mentioned that I was ready to be generous for a quick and peaceful resolution. I offered her a total of $60,000 for the equity in the house and other investments. My lawyer barely started speaking when my STBXW got all excited with her friend. Nudged by the frightening Harpy next to her, STBXW asked where to sign. My lawyer asked multiple times if my STBXW wanted to review the rest of the agreement first. But no, my soon-to-be ex-wife wanted to sign immediately. She asked when she could expect the money, and that they had to go to the pub. My lawyer called someone over, whispered something, and suddenly there was a lot of movement. An older woman requested our identification documents, and we were asked to sign 2 copies. After we finished, the old lady stamped it, and I later discovered she was a notary. My lawyer, nearly at her wit's end, thanked my STBXW and the Harpy and said we were finished. They left, and my wife didn't even take her copy of the agreement. She placed it on the table. My lawyer glanced at her flat hands and then at me. It was clear she didn't want me to speak while they were inside the building. As we watched them walk across the parking lot, my lawyer turned to me and said, "Congratulations." She talked for a long time about how this was the weirdest session she had ever experienced for a negotiated divorce. She said she would send my STBXW's copy to her after we have a hearing in front of the judge, or if a lawyer asks for it. For now, it's just sitting in my lawyer's drawer, untouched. It seems that, at first glance, I will navigate this divorce much more smoothly than I initially expected. My soon-to-be ex-wife can still get a lawyer and challenge this. My lawyer said she would do everything she could to get me a hearing with a judge quickly. It's likely going to be a video call. I hired someone after getting advice here, and he caught my wife making out with 2 different guys at 2 bars yesterday. She even went to a hotel with one of them. I have a lot of evidence ready, and I just hope it's sufficient if needed. My wife agreed to give me full custody with just a one-time payment, no spousal support, nothing else, just $60K and I'm free. I need to figure out how to get the money. I have a plan. Bob said he would cover the whole amount if necessary. I still can't believe this is happening. I keep waiting for her to show up as my fierce lawyer, accusing you of molesting the kids and domestic abuse like it's all a trick. A lawyer advised me to stay under the radar, cover my usual expenses, and avoid causing any trouble. Don't communicate with anyone we both know. Just stay put and be patient. Just don't reply to anything. Really no effort until the hearing. All I have to do now is be patient and wait for the best outcome. Update 4. Yesterday was the hearing, and I am basically divorced now. The paperwork will take 4 to 6 months to finalize, but right now, there's really nothing anyone can do to alter the result. The only way is for my wife and me to stop it together. I am really tired. I haven't slept in days, so if I seem a bit scattered, I apologize. I need to share this. I have to vent. I hope I can sleep after I write this down. My lawyer got me an early hearing just 12 days after I submitted the paperwork. She definitely pulled some strings for this. This past weekend until now has been wild. On Friday morning, several police officers came to my door with a warrant to search the house. I felt confused and worried about the kids, so I asked if I could take them outside while they searched. I'm glad they went along with it. I didn't get much information, but I received a copy of the warrant. I was so shaken that I couldn't understand it at all. It seems that those who suggested my ex-wife's behavior might be linked to drugs were onto something. That's definitely a factor here. The police started going through my house, making a mess. I called my lawyer, and she spoke with them, but the warrant was legitimate, so there was nothing that could be done then. I didn't consider it at the time. Who am I? But now I have cameras set up everywhere to protect myself from false accusations. I have video and audio of everything. I might make a claim later if I choose to. I'm not sure I have the energy or motivation for that. Maybe I'll just let it go and move on. I had no idea at the time, but X and her 3 Harpy friends took my car while they were high and drunk and crashed it into a house at high speed. They got arrested. Everyone was drunk and had drugs on them. They were badly injured in the crash. The person in the passenger seat is in critical condition, and it's uncertain if she will survive. The main Harpy will refer to her as Henrietta. She bragged about deceiving her ex-husband in court. We'll refer to her ex-husband as Henry. Henry and I have become really good friends. I'll reach out to him. Fortunately, they didn't discover anything during the search. I explained that my ex no longer lives here. She is with her parents, and I have no idea what she's up to. No, I didn't allow Henrietta to drive my car, and so on. When I returned home, I just fell apart. Everything was a total mess. That was it for me. I decided to call my dad. He came and took me and the kids back to my mom's place. Dad gathered 26 friends and relatives. I was crying on the back porch, eating my mom's great comfort food. I felt sorry for myself, and they cleaned and fixed my whole house. They cleaned every room, the clothes, the dishes, the furniture, and even washed the ceilings and walls. It's really clean now, They even took care of the small stuff, like fixing loose door handles. I was shocked they would go that far for me. I don't know how I can ever repay them. I went from feeling suicidal to feeling pretty good over the weekend, all because of them. Police discovered additional drugs at Henrietta's home. Her boyfriend was absent, and there was no babysitter, leaving the kids unattended. CPS took the kids, and on Saturday, Henry got temporary emergency custody after presenting the chat logs to the judge. Due to the abandonment and the drug issues, he obtained custody fairly easily. Henry is extremely happy. He hasn't seen his kids much in the last 5 years. He was collecting funds to take Henrietta to court when this occurred. He still has to go to court to finalize it, but the chances look really good right now. Many believe Henrietta is facing jail time. If her friend doesn't pull through, it could be serious. After that, he will seek child support and compensation for everything Henrietta did. He doesn't have high hopes for this. Honestly, I believe he prefers not to spend his time battling in court. He wants to be with his kids and ensure they have a good life. Henrietta has clearly been neglectful towards them. Bob helped Henry find a rental apartment through a friend. I've realized I don't really know much about Bob's personal or work life. I plan to fix that. I'm getting sidetracked again. Henrietta was driving when she went off the road and crashed into a house. Everyone was in rough shape, and because of the circumstances, the alcohol and drugs involved, search warrants were issued for all the residents. X is still listed as a resident at my house. I made the decision on Sunday to sell this house and move away as soon as possible. I worry this might happen again. On Sunday, I received a call from her parents. Their house had been searched too. They visited their daughter in jail on Saturday, and now they don't trust anything she says. In short, they visited on Sunday, and it turns out she's been dishonest about everything. She spent the night out partying and being unfaithful. She said she was staying with me and that we were trying to figure things out. They were completely unaware of what was really happening or what she had done to me and the kids. They were aware she cheated, but thought it was just a one-time drunken mistake. That's pretty much what she said to them. On Monday, my wife called me to ask if I could post bail. It's $15K, and her parents have already said no. After speaking with my lawyer, she prepared some documents stating that the bail will be deducted from the settlement until she appears in court and the bail is released. The agreement stated that her mother would be the custodian of the remaining amount. My lawyer wanted to ensure my wife had no reason to miss the hearing, so she advised me to get her out. X felt there was no other option, so she signed. She got out on Monday afternoon. According to her parents, she would not follow the rules they set for her to keep living there. Expressions like quit using drugs, enter rehab, be open about everything, cut off toxic friends, etc. She would leave their house on Tuesdays to spend time with some new friends. She missed the hearing, and after presenting all the evidence, including what happened over the weekend, I was granted full custody. The settlement follows the agreement we reached. It was fast, just 30 minutes, but it will take 4 to 6 months to get through the paperwork. But in truth, it's finished. Nothing can be done to stop this now. Today, I couldn't sleep. People were congratulating me and acting like I had achieved something big, but it definitely doesn't feel like I won anything. This is really tough, but I still love my wife. I'm aware that it's finished, and there's no turning back. She was my best friend, my soulmate until recently, and even though I feel my love for her is deeply hurt, it remains, and it hurts a lot. There are no winners here. I lose, my wife loses, my kids lose. I can't find the right words. It feels like I'm being asked to celebrate the loss of both my legs. Because I took action, one of my legs might be amputated below the knee, while the other was amputated above. When people congratulate me, it feels like they are praising me for saving half a kneecap. I lost both my legs. I can't sleep well. When I do manage to fall asleep, I get hit with awful nightmares that wake me up in a cold sweat. I apologize for venting a little here. Today, I received a call from the hospital informing me that my ex is in the hospital. I remain her emergency contact, and she is still covered under my health insurance. There was a fight. She lost some teeth, has a broken jaw, and will need to stay for observation for a few days. I brought her parents, and when we arrived, I found out that some of her new friends had hurt her pretty badly. News spread that Henry had chat logs of Henrietta boasting about her actions towards him, taken from my wife's phone. They thought my wife had passed the logs to Henry. They ended up beating her up and kicking her out. It's surprising that she still doesn't realize I can monitor her phone. I will continue as I have been, covering insurance, her phone, and so on, until I have the papers in my hand. I can't accept it until I see it for myself. She has nothing left and asked if she could come back home. I just said no way in hell. Her mother won't give her any money unless she gets clean and stays that way for at least a year. They asked her to move in with them under the same strict conditions as before. If she doesn't accept, I don't know how she will cope. For the first time, I noticed some regret from her since this all began. It seems like she's regretting that she can't keep up with her wild behavior anymore. She said she was sorry for ruining everything, but I don't believe it's sincere. She barely made eye contact with me while I was there. It was painful to see her in this state. I wanted to keep her safe. She is an adult, but her actions are risky and unpredictable. I have to keep my kids safe. Besides that, she didn't inquire about the hearing or her critically injured friend. She just sat there looking irritated. I still can't wrap my head around this. She has lost it all. She has hurt her family and caused a lot of pain for many people. What's the point? A thrill and some unexpected intimacy? I'm going no contact until she's been clean for a while. I can't handle all this chaos. Update 5. Many people have messaged me asking for an update. I planned to post one yesterday, but I lacked the energy. I'm feeling pretty down and extremely exhausted. I rarely sleep, and when I do, nightmares haunt me. The kids are improving, and my dad is amazing. I really don't know what I'd do without him. This weekend, we went to his cabin to ski with the kids. It was great. I have almost no communication with my ex. I spoke to one of her harpy friends, the one who was in critical condition. She woke up, but she looked really bad. I spoke with her nurse, and she seemed upset that nobody had checked on her while she was there. Her family was contacted, but they chose not to see her. I'm concerned that the people who attacked my ex might come after me and the kids, so I asked the nurse if I could speak with her, and she said yes. I know I shouldn't, but I felt I had to ask her about what happened since my wife started working with them. She asked me if I wanted a BJ for 20. That was not awkward at all. I proposed giving her 50 for some information instead. The harpy friends are all heavy drug users, addicts. Henrietta pulled my wife into their group despite the objections of the other two and persuaded her to try drugs and party with them. Henrietta is the one in charge of selling sexual favors to get money for drugs. They all talk about this strong feminist and my own body stuff. She said it's all nonsense to shield our own egos. In reality, we sell ourselves for cash to buy drugs. My wife fell for the nonsense first, and it wasn't long before she became hooked, just like everyone else. Once she was hooked, she eventually started selling sex to pay for drugs. It's tough to find out that someone you cared for deeply changed so much because of her drug addiction. It's clear why she was only after the money now. According to her, it's mostly meth. No one came around because she had stolen, cheated, abused, and lied to everyone. People wanted nothing to do with her. She said, without hesitation, that she felt sad about surviving. She feels hopeless about the future, and without her makeup, she looks extremely unwell. It was hard to hear her. I felt crushed and cried a lot for my wife's sake. I'm not defending her. She chose to get involved with this and face the consequences. Now she will face the consequences. She shared everything about the guys who attacked my ex-wife. I'll come back to this later. Henrietta faces serious charges including death threats, resisting arrest, drug possession, prostitution, drug trafficking, child abuse and neglect, DUI, property damage, and auto theft. She won't get bail because she's seen as a flight risk. It looks like she'll be gone for some time. I really hope she does. First, I want to thank everyone who shared their experiences with dealing with addicts. Several people told me that my ex could attempt to take her own life now that things are getting tough for her. She really did try to be deliberately strange. I spoke with her father about it before. There was a good chance she would attempt something. We chose to keep a close watch on her. Fortunately, she still doesn't know that I have live information from her mobile. On Saturday at the cabin, I received a message from her. It sounds like a suicide note. She shares her struggles with addiction, the choices she made, how she feels she disappointed everyone, and that she plans to take the only path she sees left. I called her dad right away, and since I have the mobile monitor, I also know her location. Her father runs out and sees her passed out on a park bench. She is quickly taken to the hospital and treated for hypothermia. I can't imagine what would have happened if he had shown up a bit later. She is currently on methadone, and her father has become her appointed guardian. She is no longer able to refuse treatment. Her father had her committed to a rehab center against her will, and she will undergo sedated detox. I'm not sure when, but it will likely be this week. Her father was appointed, not due to any obligation she had. But did she really leave her kids behind? It seems that leaving your kids shows a lack of reason, but attempting to take your own life is acceptable. Fortunately, I haven't canceled her life insurance yet, so she will receive treatment. I offered to help my ex Phil with the finances, but I asked that my ex not be informed about it. I have been really worried that the people who hurt my wife might come after me and the kids. Henry showed chat logs in court that they think my wife gave to him. I spoke with Henry, and he agreed to fix it since he gained from the disclosure. I might have mentioned this before, but Henry is a really big and angry guy. He grew up on a farm, carrying things since he was a kid, so he looks like a hawk and could easily overpower the average man. He ducks when he walks through doorways, has a crew cut, and some scars on his face. He can be quite intimidating if you're not familiar with him. He is incredibly patient, gentle, and kind. I believe he will resort to force if needed, but it's his last option. He went to the guy's apartment, which was a complete mess. He took hold of the two guys by the neck and said that Henrietta had shared the chat logs with him. Because they harmed someone he knew, they faced a decision. Accompany him to the police and admit everything about the assault. Or, 2, confront him directly and make it clear that choosing the second option could lead to serious, lasting injuries. He expressed to them that he was quite hopeful they would go with option 2. They seemed unable to reach the police in time. I don't worry about them anymore. I found a new apartment and will be moving soon. Bob helped me out again. I feel really down. This is weighing on me a lot. My motivation comes from my family, and I realize I have to be strong for the kids. I feel sad for my ex. Even with everything that happened, I don't regret marrying her. I still care for her, but I understand we can't reunite. She has changed, and there is too much hurt between us now. Even with all the recent pain, we enjoyed a good life before. I wouldn't have my kids if it weren't for her, and I wouldn't trade them for anything. I realize this is going to be painful for a while. I just hope I can handle it. Interestingly, my wife's addiction has actually assisted my kids in coping with the situation. It's simpler to discuss Mamie's illness and the long road to recovery ahead. She still cares for them and so on. I'm feeling sad and tired. Henry is here with his kids, and we're planning to watch Madagascar 3. I want to create as many positive memories as I can. Henry is on the same path, and it seems like our kids are doing much better now. I believe we will be fine. Thanks to everyone for your help. I believe this will be my final post here. Cheating wife destroyed our family and Christmas. Why does she think I should accept her behavior? My ex died unexpectedly while in rehab. We have no idea how she got the drugs. No one really knows how she managed to take them while inside. A doctor thinks she might have swallowed a bag or something similar, and it could have burst inside her. I won't post again or reply to comments. Thanks to everyone who shared useful suggestions and comments.